If you have like pillows or blankets or like anything, I would grab that just because it'll just make things so much nicer towards the end when we like do less like flowy things. I just grabbed like a bunch of random blankets and pillows off of my couch. So feel free to just like use anything that you have. I also have my 2 blocks. If you have blocks or anything that looks like a block of a book, I don't know where, maybe you could use like weights or something random in your room, Wes, but I don't know. But just be creative. If you see something around that looks like it'll fit.
Weights here, yeah.
Yeah, see what happens.
I brought this blanket and there's weights back here. Maybe I get those, yeah.
Yeah. We can do with what we have. Okay. And then I will mute you two. And then we're just gonna start in a child's pose. So you can just set yourself up in a child's pose on your mat. Knees is wide, or knees a little bit wider than your hips, and then you can just set your hips back. And your forehead will just come and rest on the ground. And you can click play on the playlist either after this or at any time, whatever feels good. Yeah. And just begin to notice your breath. Breathing into your low belly. It's the height of winter, so things are moving a lot slower. We want to move slower. There's less sunlight, all that good stuff. So today we'll do a lot of like wintry things that just embrace all the different traits of winter. Hi, Lisa.
Hey, sorry.
No worries. We're in a child's pose. Amazing. So just notice your breath. Notice its speed. We'll do a few different breath variations or pranayama techniques later. So just try to notice your breath and just have some conscious breathing. You too, Toby. Cool, and take one more cycle of breath. And then as you inhale, you're just gonna come up and just let your hips drop like you're coming into an up dog in front of you. And then come back to your child's pose. Yeah. So you're just gonna take a few rocks forward and back, rocking up into a very loose, do whatever you want with your legs, whatever feels most comfortable to come into like almost a fake down dog, like if we were trying to formalize our down dog, up dog. Yeah, just take a few more rocks forward and back. You can go as slow or as fast as you want. Can really just let everything release. You don't need to be holding any tension, legs or your butt. Yeah, nice. Yeah. You can shake your head out yes and no, and you can see throughout class if you want to close your eyes. I like try sometimes to do a lot of yoga with my eyes closed because it gives you a lot more information on what your inner body is doing. So you can see what happens when you close your eyes. And take one more round. And the next time that you come forward, you're just going to gently lower yourself onto your belly, onto your mat. Make a palm pillow with your hands underneath your forehead and then rock your hips from right to left. So just another piece to emphasize, releasing your low back and your butt. Yeah, we don't want to hold any tension there. And then keeping your elbows right where they are. They should be almost in line with your shoulders. If they're a little bit above, that's totally fine. Just leave them where they are. And then change where your hands are so that they're making like a goalpost position or a field goal position with your arm on the ground. And you're going to turn your right cheek and the right side of your face onto the ground. Find your left hand underneath your left shoulder and then roll over onto your right side body. So just beginning to get into the shoulders. Yeah. Your left leg can come step behind you or it can stay right on top of your right leg. You can give yourself a few rocks forward and back. Your eyes can stay closed here. Just noticing what it's like to open up the front of the shoulder and the pec. And take one more cycle of breath. And roll yourself back onto your stomach and just switch on over to the other side. So find the field goal cactus shape with your left hand. Right hand comes underneath your right shoulder and then roll over onto your left side body. And the side might feel different than the other. Yeah. Your right leg can step behind you or just lay on top of your left leg. Eyes can still be closed. Taking a few rocks forward and back to keep the movement a little bit dynamic. And take one more cycle of breath here. As you exhale, bring yourself back to center. You can come back to that palm pillow underneath your forehead. And then once again, just really release anything that is being held in your low back or your hips. One more breath. Then you'll find your hands underneath your shoulders and you'll just press yourself up into an all fours position. So our hands are underneath our shoulders, our knees are underneath our hips, we're in a tabletop. And from here, we're just gonna immediately go into some wrist variations, but we're gonna flip our hands around 180 degrees, which for all of us is a good thing because we're typing a lot. And if that feels like way too much, just flip them out 90. And then whenever you're there, you can start your cats and cows, inhaling as you arch and exhaling as you round. And then you can keep going and you can always choose to either increase or decrease the angle of your hands. But just keep going. Eyes can stay closed or you can open them. Go as slow or as fast as you want. We're gonna move slower today, as I said earlier. So if you want to slow step, you can. Otherwise, you can just keep embracing the slow movement. Keep your same speed for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come back to center. You can just give yourself a little wiggle. Then I'm going to sit back on my knees for a second just to fist bump my hands together and then place that underneath my shoulders. So you're going to place the backs of your hands on the mat underneath your shoulders, and then you're just going to rock forward and back. This is probably going to feel like a lot on your hands. It's like toe breaker, but for your wrists. We opened up the back side of the wrist. We're opening up this side, and see how straight your arms can get. Notice where you're looking. Try to look down and out in front of you and not looking back towards your belly button. Tops of both feet are still pressing down on the ground. Take one more rock. And then you can sit back on your heels again. Try not to shake out your hands. One more, you're going to interlace your hands together and then place them underneath your shoulders on the ground, like you just like pancake the floor. And if that feels great, then you can flip that around too. So it looks like you're pressing this on the floor and then you're going to flip it. It's really weird. But if you can't flip it or if that hurts, just stay with your interlaced hands under you. And then you can take some circles with your hips and your shoulders to the right. You can circle around your head. You can try flipping your hands if you didn't already. Have a slight bend in your elbows too, just so nothing is locked out. Take one more circle to the right. Then you're going to lean back on your shins again and just switch the interlacing with the different pointer finger on top and go back to whatever setup you had before. So if you just had your hands pressing down, so your thumbs were facing your knees, great. Otherwise, you can flip it around again with the different interlacing and see what happens, and then take circles with your hips to the left. Yeah. And this is super hard. I've done this like 5 bajillion times, which is the only reason I can do it without crying, basically. So if this feels like a lot, just switch it to the less intense one. There's always more time. The more you do something, the easier it gets. So don't rush into anything right now. Take one more circle to the left. Come back to release your hands, and then just gently ground your hands into the floor the normal way underneath your shoulders, letting everything ground beneath you. Amazing. And you're going to place your hands about a palm print in front of where they are. Tuck your toes, lift your hips, and come into your first down dog. Once you get there, pedal it out as if you're walking your dog in the morning for the first time. And I'm sure knows what that looks like. And then just pedal it out from right to left. You can shake a leg, you can shake an arm, you can shake your head. Just keep giving your legs some movement here. Yeah, nice. And as you're pressing down with your hands, wrap your elbows a little bit under so that your biceps are almost facing the ceiling, so that everything is wrapping in and you're not sinking down on your shoulders. Take one more cycle of breath of movement if you're still moving, otherwise just stay in your down dog. On your next inhale, you're gonna lift your right leg up to the sky, toes face down, and then step your right foot to your right thumb. So setting yourself up for a low lunge, you can place your back knee down, untuck the back toes. Great. Coming into Anjanayasana, try to find the connection between your armpit and your knee if you can. Really nice, Wes. And then walk your hands forward and up. And once you're there, you can grab for opposite elbow, making a frame for your face, creating space in your armpits and your arms, which are the portal to the lungs, so that we can breathe. Then you can press your hips a little bit more forward. Find your gaze looking up where the wall meets the ceiling. Take one more cycle of breath. As you exhale, reach your arms up, place your fingertips back down, and then gently bring your hips back. Right toes can come up into a runner's stretch. Once you're there, you can rock your hips from right to left again. Feel free to find a time to close your eyes here too. Leg can be slightly bent. One more breath. As you exhale, you can place your right foot down, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, and step your left foot up to meet your right, so that you're at a hip width distance forward fold at the front of your mat. Knees can be slightly bent, and just let your upper body completely hang over and release on top of your lower body. So slight bend in your knees. You can shake your head, yes and no again here. Take one more breath, just letting everything hang. Maybe already feeling a release in your low back. As you exhale for this last time, then you can begin to roll yourself up to stand, just to come stand and then roll out of it. Yeah, go as slow as you can. And then once you get to the top, you can just give yourself a few little wiggles and find yourself standing on 2 feet with your palms facing forward. And then find your eyes closed here again. So you have right foot under right hip, left foot under left hip. You're just standing on your 2 feet, noticing which part of the foot you might be leaning more onto. We don't consciously stand that often. So just notice what it's like to stand without having your eyes open. On your next inhale, you can open your eyes, lift your arms up overhead, and then forward fold over your legs. From there, gently step or hop or do whatever you want to get back to your downward facing dog. On your next inhale, bring your body forward and through to a plank pose. And then just drop your hips a little bit to come into a tuck-toed up dog. So a more formal version of what we did in the beginning. And then bend the knees and stick the butt up to come back to your down dog. Inhale, lift the left leg up this time, left toes face down, hips are square. Exhale, step your left leg to your left thumb. Place your back knee down. Yeah, set your lunge up. Make sure your left knee is right on top of left ankle. And once you're there, you put your arms forward, out and up. And then grab opposite elbow. So switch the forearm that's on top. Pressing the hips forward. Gaze. Eventually, chin lifts a little bit up to look up at the diagonal. Elbow point is right in the palm of the opposite hand that's holding it. Hips are pressing forward. Inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, place your fingertips down. Gently bring your hips back to come into a runner stretch. Left toes lift up. Hips can rock side to side. Yeah. Keep breathing. Feel free to pause at any point wherever your hamstring or calf feels the most. Looking down and out or shaking your head around. One more breath. Then step back into your left foot, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, hop your right foot up to meet your left this time and come into a forward fold at the front of your mat. Feet are still hip width distance. They can even be a little bit wider if you wanted to create a little bit more space and really just let your head completely drop. So if you have a huge weight or there's a magnet connecting your head to the floor. So good. Letting your arms completely dangle like wet spaghetti. Take a really big inhale and a really big exhale to release something else. And begin to slowly roll yourself up again. Taking your time, getting your wiggles out once you get to the top. And then straight from here, inhale again, lift the arms up, press palms together, look up, and then exhale, forward fold over your legs. Cool. Just gently walk or hop yourself back to your down dog. Once you're in your down dog, inhale, come immediately forward and through to the up dog, and then exhale, downward facing dog. You can try that again, coming into a tuck-toed up dog, and then bending the knees, coming into a down dog. So it should be like your body's making a wave going forward and back, like the tide at the beach. Then we'll all meet in our down dog. Then you're going to place your knees down on the ground. You're going to find your knees, shins, and feet touching. You're going to sit your hips back on your heels. Then you're going to grab for your heels with your hands. So my right hand is cupping my right heel. My left hand is cupping my left heel. Then your forehead can just drop wherever it drops. If it lands on the floor, great. If it's just dangling, it's okay. We're in one of my favorite poses, seed pose. So winter, the element of winter is water. Water is very much connected with the moon. I'm not super into all these things about science, so I'm not going to get into that much, but the whole point of that being, we're going to do some moon salutations. So we're going to move through them slowly, and then we may or may not pick up the speed, but we'll just do them a few times. And you can just follow along if you haven't done them before. I don't know if we've done these in class that often, but you're going to just stay in your seed pose. So you can just chill in your seed pose to start. And then we can begin very soon. But just find one breath per movement as we're moving. Doesn't matter where your inhales and exhales are. If I'm saying inhale and you're exhaling, it doesn't matter. Just find one breath per movement of what we're doing. And just imagine that as we're moving, the moon and the gravity pull from the moon is what's causing our bodies to move, just like the tide and waves crashing onto a shore. Someone's gonna have to like fact check everything I just said, but you get the gist. Cool. So on your next inhale, you're gonna sit up on your shins and lift your arms up overhead. Then you're gonna fold forward, just like you're in a child's pose. You're gonna come forward like we did in the beginning, but this time you're gonna tuck your toes, lift your legs and knees, come into that tuck-toed up dog that we just did, and then bend your knees and stick your butt up to your down dog. Cool. Then you're gonna step your right foot forward to your right thumb. You're gonna place your back knee down. You don't need to untuck the toes. You're gonna just lift yourself up, come down with your hands, lift the back knee, step yourself into your forward fold, hang for a moment. Then you're gonna inhale, lift your arms up, press palms together overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, step your right foot back this time. Place your back knee down. Lift your torso up. Bring your hands back down. Lift your knee. Bring yourself back to your downward facing dog. Roll your body forward through like a wave to your tucked out up dog. Place your knees down, untuck the toes, come back to your child's pose, and then bring your hands back to your heels to come to a seat pose. Cool. Great, now we're gonna do the other side. We've done everything already in class today, so it should all be familiar. Take one more breath. On your next inhale, lift the arms up, reach up to the sky. Exhale, bow over your legs. Come forward and through to that tuck-toed up dog, unraveling your body. Stick your butt up, come to your down dog. Inhale, step your left foot to your left thumb. Place your back knee down. Lift your torso up. Arms can do anything. Hands come back down. Lift your back knee. Step your right foot up to meet your left and hang. Lift both arms up overhead, palms pressed. Exhale, forward fold over your legs. Step your left foot back this time. Place your back knee down. Lift your torso up. Hands come back down. Back knee lifts. Step yourself back to your downward facing dog. Roll into your up dog. Place the knees down. Untuck the toes. Child's pose, seed pose. Take a few breaths here. We're gonna do it one more time to either side. Might go a teensy bit faster, but nothing crazy. Just notice how the circuitous motion of everything that we're doing is allowing your body and blood and energy in your body to flow. Take an exhale. Inhale, reach arms up, really lift up to the moon above you. Forward fold over your legs. Come into your tuck-toed up dog. Come into your downward facing dog. Inhale, step your right foot, right thumb. Place your back knee down, lift your torso up. Place your hands back down, lift your back knee, and step your left foot up to meet your right. Hang over your legs, take a full cycle of breath. Inhale, lift the arms up, press palms together overhead. Exhale, forward fold over your legs. This time, step the right back, untuck or leave the toes tucked, place your knees down, torso comes up, hands come back down, lift the back knee, step your left foot back, downward facing dog, roll, undulate the spine to come to your tuck-toed up dog, place the knees down, untuck the toes, child's pose, C pose. Grabbing yourself into a tiny little ball, taking a few more breaths here in between to bookmark side. On your next inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, forward fold over your legs. Bring your body forward into your tuck-toed up dog, downward facing dog. Left hand, left thumb, place your back knee down, lift your torso up. Hands come down, lift the back knee, forward fold at the front of the mat. Let everything hang, take a full cycle of breath. Inhale, reach the arms up, press palms together. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, step the left foot back this time. Place the back knee down, come into your low lunge with your torso up. Hands come back down. Lift your back knee. Step yourself into your downward facing dog. Inhale, roll your body forward and through to up dog. Place the knees down, untuck the toes, child's pose, seed pose. Last few moments in seed pose, so really enjoy the comfort of having so much contact with all parts of your body in this seed pose. Chest to thighs, hands to heels. Contact breeds safety, so it's nice to hug ourselves sometimes. Take one more breath here. And you can roll yourself up to sit up tall. And then you can come back into your downward facing dog. You can do anything that feels good to get into your down dog. Cool. From here, you're going to begin to walk your hands back towards your feet to come into a forward fold at the back of your mat. So feet are going to come down. Feet are coming down. Feet are down already. Then you're going to find your hands and you're going to place the palms of your hands underneath each foot. So the right palm of my hand is coming underneath my right foot. Left palm's coming underneath my left. I'm going to inhale, extend my spine. My knees are still bent. Then I exhale to box my elbows out and forward fold over my legs. You can shake your head yes and no. Any instinctive movement that happens, just do it. Yeah. Keep breathing here. It's really getting into the backs of the legs. As you box the elbows out, just let gravity help you drape over. One more breath. And you can release the hands. Shake anything out that you want to shake out and walk yourself back into your downward facing dog. Beautiful. Inhale, lift your right leg up, down dog split. Exhale, bend the knee, open up the hip, and then you can take circles or anything with your knee or your ankle. Try to keep your shoulders in one line, so it doesn't need to be anything crazy. And then you're going to step your right foot to your left thumb. So your leg should be kind of crossed. You can still try to find the connection of chest to thigh. Your back knee is going to stay lifted, and then you're going to press down with the front of the right foot, pull your right hip back and come into this crossed like hamstring stretch thing. I do not know the technical yoga term for this, but I'll look it up after. You can sway your hips from right to left. See if you can keep your belly connected to your thigh the whole time. And if that means your right knee stays bent, whatever. Not about straight legs here. Take one more cycle of breath. You're going to bend back into your right knee. Get a little hoppy on the back leg and hop your left knee outside of your right foot. You're kind of replacing your hands. Then you're going to sit up tall in your seated spinal. If you have a blanket, I highly recommend, if you don't use it for this, you can use it for the next step. But I'm just going to sit up on a blanket so that my pelvis and my hips are like on a downhill slope because it's much easier to do things when we're on a downhill slope than when we're crunched back. But we mainly just do it so our spine stays super long. You're going to place your right fingertips behind you, lift your left arm up, place your left elbow outside your right knee, and then just twist yourself to the right. You might get a nice crack in your back. You might feel there's a little bit more space to breathe, there's a little bit less space to breathe. Let your shoulders roll down and back. Sitting up super tall as you twist. Inhale, one more, lengthen. Exhale, twist a little bit more. Come back through center. Take a counter twist to the left, just to even it out. Give your shoulders a little roll. And then you're going to straighten both legs in front of you. So that we're going to come into a seated forward fold. And if you have a blanket, use it. I have like 5 blankets here. And so I'm going to use them all because I can. Okay. So you're going to sit up tall on whatever you have. You could even sit up on a block if that's something that you want to do. Your legs are going to be coming straight out from your hips. Knees are going to be slightly bent. I like sitting up super tall first to make sure that the crown of my head is right on top of my sits bones. And then from there you're going to keep your back long as you go forward. So if that means you only go like this far, great. You can go as far as you can so that your back stays super long. And then as we stay here, you can let your head completely drop. Or if you have a block, you can put the block in between your shins or legs and let your forehead rest on that. But see if as you forward fold, you can try to find a connection between each armpit and knee. Our bodies are made to fit ourselves. So if it's not fitting today, at one point, if you did yoga all the time, it would. They're just not used to it. And then just keeping everything inward, come back to your breath. Notice the speed. Notice if you feel warm or if you feel cold. And flex your feet up to the sky the whole time. If you are near a wall, you can even press your feet into a wall, and that helps them stay straight. And as we stay here for a little bit longer than we usually do, we get to really start using our parasympathetic nervous system, which is what allows us to rest and digest and not be moving at 500 miles per hour all the time, which is very important, especially in this day and age where everything is going all the time. Feel free to fidget around as we stay here for a little bit longer. If you want to straighten the legs or move a blanket or add a block. Breathing deeply to encourage the rest in the body. And take one more cycle of breath. And as you exhale, gently, gently, as slow as you can, walk yourself up to sit up tall. You can give your legs a little bit of a shake. Then you're going to pull your right foot in so that your right foot kisses your left inner thigh. So we're setting up for Janusirshasana. Cool. And then from here, you're going to pull your right foot even more. Oops, sorry. So you can just move the blankets or whatever that you have. You just need to like move things around. So now we're on kind of like a diagonal. You're going to find that little bend in your left knee again and see if you can find your forearm on the floor right in front of your knee. If that's not happening for you, hand on the ground is totally fine. And then lift your right arm up and over. And the goal at some point in life is to have your right hand reach your right foot. That's not happening for me today, so that's fine. It doesn't need to. You should feel a nice long stretch in your right side body. And you should feel your chest twisting up towards the sky or the moon or whatever you're looking at. so that you have equal and opposite pressure and opening up your entire chest. Equal and opposite pressure on your knee and shoulder. Take a few more breaths. You can close your eyes here too. If your head is getting a little bit heavy, you can place your elbow on the ground and have your left hand end up being like a bookshelf for it. Yeah. Take one more cycle of breath. As you come out of it, reach long and over like a rainbow with your right hand. Circle your left arm around and just lift your hips up for a second to do a counter stretch. Back down, shake out the legs. And then you're going to cross right shin over left, move the blankets out of the way and come back up to your downward facing dog. Cool. So once you're in your dog, you can just pedal it out again. You can take an up dog to a down dog. Imagine that your arms are wrapping in. Very cool. Great. On your next inhale, lift your left leg up, down dog split. Exhale, bend the knee, open up the hip. Still have a slight bend in my right standing leg. My shoulders are in the same line, and take those circles with your knee and your ankle. Amazing. One more cycle of breath. Extend your left leg and then step your left foot to your right thumb. You can move your hands or do whatever so that you feel that your legs are crossed enough. Once you're there, press down with the front of the left foot, pull your left hip back. Yeah. Then you can rock your hips from right to left. Let your head completely drop too. So no matter where you are with the mobility in your legs, your head can always just dangle from whatever place you're at. Take one more deep inhale, one more exhale, then back into the left knee. Get hoppy on your right leg. Hop your right knee outside your left foot. Sit back, coming into seated spinal. Set yourself up as similarly as possible to the other side. So if you used a blanket, sit on a blanket again. You know where we're going. So you know what you want. Left fingertips come behind you. Reach your right arm up. Right elbow comes outside your left knee. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist over the left shoulder. And as you inhale and then spiral, you'll get more oomph in your entire back of your twist. So you know you're twisting from the hips and not just like twisting from your neck. We want to start from the bottom and work our way up. One more cycle. As you exhale, come back through center. Just bend over to the right for fun. Then come back to center. Shake out your legs. We'll do our forward fold one more time. So if you want to try a different variation than before, you can. Otherwise, just set yourself up, sitting up super tall on something so that your hips have more of a downhill slope. Feet can stay flexed and then just walk yourself forward. Grabbing a block or anything that you want. Yeah. You can widen your feet a little bit more too. Yeah. So then if you could do this, your head would like go in between your shins, or there'd be enough space for that. If you don't see that there's enough space for your head to go in between your shins, you can widen your feet. Great. And find your breath here. You can imagine that the breath starts from your low back and goes up the entire back body. Reaches a point at the top where the crown of the head is. And as you exhale, it hits the feet and comes back around the backs of your legs to start all over again. You can use your breath to imagine there's almost like a golden thread wrapping around you. Keeping your body engaged, mind engaged. Take a few more breaths here. Feel free to see if your body already wants to go a little bit deeper. Notice if you are gripping anywhere and release it. And on your next exhale, you can begin to walk your hands back up to sit. Go super, super slow. You can gently shake out your legs, and then this time, pull your left foot in inside of your right thigh. And then pull it a little bit more over to the left. You can move the blankets as you need. Same thing here, slight bend in your right knee. Right forearm comes in front of your shin or knee. So your shoulders hitting your knee. And then you'll lift your left arm up and over. Gazing up at the sky, twisting your whole chest so that it twists to the left and then up. Keeping your right foot engaged. Getting really into the left side body. You can really try to reach for your toes. If you just hit them, exciting. Take a few more deep inhales, really breathing into the right side lung as it twists up towards the sky. One more cycle of breath. Exhale, lift the left arm up and over, place it back behind you. Swim your right arm around, just lift your hips up. And you can bring them back down. Shake out your legs. Cross your left shin over the right shin this time and come into your downward facing dog. Move anything that you have on your mat. Cool. Once again, inhale, lift the right leg up, down dog split. Bend the knee, open up the hip, take a few more circles. This time you're going to bring your right knee behind your right wrist to set up for pigeon. And this is where I highly recommend you use like 5 trillion things. I'll show the most extravagant way, but if you don't have that many props, by all means, just do what you have. So I'm going to use this and my blocks and stuff. So I'm going to set up like 2 or 3 blankets underneath my hips so that my hips can really rest. While pigeon is a really good pose that you get a good stretch in, it's not the point. So you can just put as many blankets or pillows or anything that you have underneath your hips so that your hips are raised and they can be super relaxed. Then I'm going to take my 2 blocks and just set one up so it's right in line with my shin on the middle height, and then the other one vertical, so it kind of looks like that. And then from there, I'm going to put the pillow on top of it. You're going to pull the pillow into your belly and then just lay on top of it. So this should be extremely comfortable. If you aren't comfortable or you don't have enough props, like make it super comfortable. The priority is your hips. So if you have something, just put it under your hips and then you can just lean over your shin. And if you're doing this whole thing, you can just gaze to the right. And then as you're here, you can imagine you're pressing down on your right shin and pulling your right hip back. And this is a super, super good pose for winter, because in the season of winter in Chinese medicine, the organ associated with winter is our kidneys. We have 2 kidneys, so are. And our kidneys are like our toilets for our body. They do a lot of filtration for us. So they need to get a good break every once in a while. And this pose of pigeon, if you are so comfortably set up, is a really nice release for your kidneys and helps them relax. So in winter, we like to do more poses that give love to the organ of that season. So Pigeon is like the queen of winter poses. Flip your cheek to the other side if you have one down. Noticing your breath still here. Imagine that someone's pressing on your right shoulder and left hip and dragging them apart. Left shoulder, right hip, and dragging that apart. So you're spreading your whole back over your shin and just really letting everything to the ground. Noticing your breath. Follow your breath. Try to stay focused on how you're breathing. One more inhale and exhale. Simply, you're just going to walk your hands back up. You're sitting up on your hips. You're going to just go through a down dog and then come back to this. So you can leave whatever props there that aren't like super in the way as you come back to your down dog. I tuck my back toes and just step myself back to my down dog. You can take an up dog if you want to do that to rinse it out. Needing of water today. And then on your next inhale, lift your left leg up, bend the knee, open up the hip. Take as much time here as you want before you come to setting yourself up in a very similar way to before. Our sides are not symmetrical though, so if your left hip is tighter than your right, mine will probably be for eternity, always tighter than my right, so I'm just gonna add another blanket under my hips so that my left hip is just as comfortable as the hip. And then I'm gonna set up the same block and pillow thing. And if the medium height for the block seems weird, you can always do something else. Or you just don't need to use anything. If you have a pillow or something, even if you don't have the blocks, you can just pull the pillow towards your low belly and lay over it, and it's very comfy. Once you're here, definitely let your eyes close. Our hips are also the biggest joint area of our body. Our biggest muscle group also. We store a lot of stuff in there, both muscle tension, but also historical baggage of life. So giving our hips love as well as this pose benefiting our knees, it's super good for our hips. If we have mobile, agile, and loose hips, is that like an appropriate thing to say? I don't know, but not tense hips. It makes walking around better, which is like the whole point of yoga, to make your daily life better, both physically, emotionally, mentally, all the things. Switch your cheek if you have one cheek on something, the other side. Really following your breath still. Following each inhale and each exhale. The other cool thing about our hips in this pose is that the psoas, that's in front of our hip joint, so it connects a bunch of tissue, tendons, muscles all around the hip and then up the low back and all that good stuff. Very important muscle. Our psoas is also connected to our diaphragm. So when our psoas gets super tight, it leads or it affects our breathing and how much breath we can hold and take in on each breath. And our tight psoas come from stress, come from doing any sort of workout that isn't stretching, running, spinning, everything. So staying in your pigeon also helps release your psoas, which helps your diaphragm, which then helps you breathe better. You know, we stayed a little bit longer on this side than the other side. In this selfish reason of I always try to do the left side longer. When you're ready, walk your hands up. You can remove all the props. I would have a block at like arm's length if you have one, or one of your blankets, and come into your last down dog. You can take anything you want here, just come out of it slowly through in pigeon for a little. And when you're ready, you're going to place your knees down, sit to one side, and come down on your back. Once you're there, feet will be planted on the floor, knees will be bent. Cool. Hands can come and rest on your low belly. We're just gonna do a Viloma breath for a few rounds just to really see how much breath we can take in after all the stuff that we've done today. So just take a normal inhale through the nose, exhale out the mouth, and then Viloma breath will be a 3-part inhale, 1-part exhale. So as you inhale, part 1 is going to be breathing deep into the low belly. Part 2 is going to be filling up the diaphragm area where the lungs are. Part 3, feel the breath. And then we'll exhale and let everything release out of the entire torso. So let's begin. Inhale part 1 into the low belly. Inhale part 2 to your chest, lungs. Part 3 up into the sternum. Hold it on full. Big sigh, let all the breath release. Maybe parts of your body also release. Take a normal breath in between. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling out the mouth. Eyes can definitely be closed here. And once again, inhale in the belly. Inhale into the chest. Inhale into the sternum. And big sigh, exhale, let it all go. Take a normal inhale and a normal exhale. One more round. Part 1 of your inhale through the low belly. Part 2 to your chest. Part 3 all the way up to the collarbones. Go up, up, up. And then exhale, let everything go. Inhale normally, inhale, exhale normally. Noticing how your body feels. And then we can take some options for your final resting pose just because we have a ton of props nearby. If you just have a blanket or a pillow, if you want to take a normal Shavasana, you can just put the pillow underneath your knees and your shins and just lie that way. If you want a bit of a restorative back bend, you can place your feet on the ground and place one of your blocks underneath your low back. I think y'all have done that before. Or you can just come into a normal Shavasana. You can put a blanket on top of you. You can do whatever you want. Just find a pose you can find stillness and rest in. So that you can find comfort And if something is cold, definitely put on the socks or a sweatshirt. When we start moving more slowly, our body temperature cools down because our body is more relaxed. So everything slows down a little bit, so it gets a little bit colder. Similar to winter. Things slow down, it gets colder. Really listen to your breath. If you want to come back to the balloon breath, you can do the 3-part inhale on your own and then exhale. We'll just lie here for a few more minutes. And to deepen your breath, notice if your mind wandered off anywhere, where it went, and just notice it. There's no judgment. And as you come back to the space, begin to bring some movement back into your fingers and your toes. Let it roll up the arms and the legs until it's enough movement to roll you onto either side, right or left, coming into a fetal position. Still keeping your eyes closed or your gaze super soft. And as you come up to sit, keep yourself still inward. You can sit cross-legged or in your asana, whatever is more comfortable. Gaze is still soft towards the ground or your eyes are closed. And come back to your breath. Notice what it's like to breathe in this different position. Breathing is involuntary, which is a very good thing for us, but when we consciously follow our breath, it can be very powerful and really brings us together, our bodies and minds together, so that we can do the next best thing for both of them, both pieces. Of your chest. Just give yourself a bit of gratitude for taking the time out of your day to slow down and do some yoga. Thumb knuckles can come up, third eye center. We'll end practice with a final bow. Thank you guys.